Welcome to Speaking in Spoons with your host, Christina Brookman.
Hi, this is Speaking in Spoons, a chronically ill podcast, and I'm your host, Christina Brookman. What you're about to see is an episode we wanted to share last month, but we have to listen to our bodies. But last month was Mental Health Month, and so this is in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month and mental health as an invisible disability. So we have Mike on here to tell his personal story of disability with schizophrenia. And stay tuned for later this month. We have some exciting episodes coming up. We will be doing a special topic episode with a disability attorney at the federal level for federal appeals for disability. And the topic is Let's Talk Social Security Disability, and lots of great information in that one. And then we'll end the month up with a personal story of disability with lupus and fibromyalgia. So it's just invisible disability month all around, and some great information about Social Security disability out there. So stay tuned and listen to Mike On, who we first discovered in his essay on his experience with schizophrenia in the graphic novel Ripple Effects, about a superhero with diabetes, another invisible illness and disability. And Ripple Effects with Fan Comics has been receiving all kinds of accolades. So make sure to go to Fan-Based Press and check out news of Ripple Effects. You can get their information on our website for this episode, as well as links to Mike On's graphic novel work. So thank you. And here we go. Welcome to Speaking in Spoons, a chronically ill podcast. I am Christina Brookman, your host, and with me we have Dr. Nate Strauss.
Hello.
And our episode today is a personal story of disability with an invisible disability, schizophrenia. And with us, we have Mike to tell us his journey and his story. Hi, Mike. Thank you for being with us.
I thank you for letting me be here.
We're so glad to have you. So why don't you tell us, um, take us back to the beginning, and what your diagnosis process was, and how schizophrenia has affected your life.
Okay, so uh gosh, yeah, from the very beginning, I was in my mid 20s. I think I was 24 around there, and um at that time there had been, like, up to that time, maybe from, like, when I was 18, 19, around there, up until I was about 24, 25, where, like, a series of, like, these really bad things kept happening in my life. And it culminated at this one incident where I got rejected by this girl I asked out. It's a really long story. And anyway, like, that was like the final blow. And I started acting strange, and my parents started noticing, and they suggested that I go see a psychiatrist. Um, when they said that, I was shocked, and I didn't think uh, there was anything wrong with me. And so, like, I said no. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna go to psychiatry. They must be crazy to think that I even need to go there. And then, but, like, as the days went on, it, they insisted, and it was just a really dark period in my life at that time.
What,
And
when you say strange, what were they seeing and in your behavior that they felt was different, and did you notice that at all?
I myself didn't notice, to be honest, but my parents noticed, and what they were saying, and not just them, but like, um, my friends, and just everybody around me in my life, they were saying that my behavior was just really off from what they had been used to, like what normal was, and
Okay.
yeah, so they were saying that I was really quiet. I got like super quiet, and then they were saying that I was just kind of like in my bedroom, just morning, noon, and night, and just stuff like that, I guess. And at first they were letting it go, but as I kept doing this kind of behavior, they started thinking maybe I should go see a psychiatrist.
Because you weren't the normal that they were used to. For
Yeah,
you, you weren't Mike, the normal Mike that they knew. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So did you ultimately make the decision to go to the psychiatrist
I
at that
did.
age?
It's not. They kind of coerced me, at the end is what kind of happened, and
Okay.
yeah, and so I did, and when I later on, so I've been to many psychiatrists since then, um, and what I learned from all those psychiatrists that I have talked to, they've told me that in some cases, people who develop paranoid schizophrenia, which is what I have, they say that it just develops suddenly. There's no like thing that happened, no big bad thing that happened that caused it. The person just wakes up one day and they developed it, and but they psychiatrists have also told me that like um in other cases like mine, it's like a series of really bad things that happen, that and then the
Hmm.
person kind of snaps. And that's kind of like the case that I fell under. Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. Were you were you able to get diagnosed the very first time you saw a psychiatrist, or did it take several, like you said, you've seen several different psychiatrists. Did it take a while to get that correct diagnosis?
Yeah, we went to a psychiatrist in downtown LA, and after talking to me for about maybe 30, 40 minutes, he said that in his opinion, that so it was like right away. It was after the first, meeting or talk, and
Wow.
yeah, and he said that he thinks I have a case of mild paranoid schizophrenia. Yeah,
Okay.
so he suggested I take medication and stuff. Yeah.
How has it impacted? What are your symptoms of schizophrenia? Because I think that's really important for people to hear. You and I had talked earlier that sometimes there's a lot of misconceptions about certain disorders and disabilities, and particularly having an invisible disability like this, that has such a well-known name, but maybe isn't as well understood. Could you kind of talk through how it affects you personally?
Yeah, I think one of the big misconceptions is that people like have different personalities or something like that. Yeah, and that's not exactly it. For not in my case, it hasn't been. So the what in my paranoid thinking, um, I believe that there's a group of people out there who have been stalking and doing crime to me in my life at home, such as like spying. They've spying on me through some kind of surveillance, and then putting voices into my head where like where it's like they're watching me, and then they're seeing what I do, and then they'll make like comments, like little they're usually just cursing me out. But anyways, yeah, yeah, that's kind of the picture. And it's like it's a hell-like picture, to be honest. Yeah, to
Yeah.
live under, to believe that that's what's going on, that's what reality is. Yeah, or has been. And anyway, so it's different now. That's not exactly what I think anymore. I've been like ill for 25 years, and so after a lot of time and many years, I finally um, and therapy too, and medication. I think in my mind that this is just a delusional thoughts. These are just delusional thoughts. They're not like reality. They're not actual reality, but it's so persuasive, and it's so like convincing. And like when the symptoms start up, it's like even nowadays, it's like some days I'm kind of back in it again, where I believe that I'm this crime victim, and yeah, it's anyway, that's been my life. It's been pretty bad, to be honest with you guys. Yeah, for a
Yeah.
It
very long
sounds
time.
scary.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But so the psychiatrist, I assume, prescribed medication and the voices got quieter. Like, is that kind of what happens though? Like they're still there, but they're mostly subdued?
Um, yeah, that kind of was what was going on. Like when I take the medication, if I'm on it long enough, then the voices will completely disappear. Actually, I won't hear them at all, and
Mm.
just that like makes my life so much more bearable. On days like that when I'm not hearing voices. Yeah, and but lately the medication doesn't seem to be subduing the voices as much, even though no matter how much I take it. But I figured out other ways to make them not talk to me, like just other mental things that I've through therapy, and so
Mhm.
yeah, I don't hear them as much and these days. Yeah, so that's
It's
definitely good news. Yeah.
Right.
yeah. I have to admit, Mike, I was so struck by, and I don't think I told you this. I was so struck by your essay, in the graphic novel Ripple Effects, because, and I've only recently started, um, acknowledge, like letting people know about this, that I had, steroid psychosis, um,
Oh, I'm so
several
sorry.
years ago. Thank you. And I could identify with what you wrote so much, and what you're saying right now. And but I was so embarrassed and ashamed. I went through that period of embarrassment and shame that I didn't want anybody to know, because I didn't want to be judged.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and but that having those voices speaking to you, and my paranoia was that the FBI was watching me.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and that and they would judge everything that I was doing. But like you said, it constantly would change or evolve, and I
mm,
started having to say, "You're not real," in my head. But
hmm,
that's so hard to do, like you said, and it's so scary, and sometimes it gets to the point where you can't hear. Do you have that where the voices are so loud that I had trouble hearing people in real life that were talking to me? Did that
yeah,
happen to you?
yeah. Like
Yeah.
when I'm talking to my wife, and then the voices will start talking to me, and it's like I'm hearing two different conversations at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
totally.
it's so
I,
hard to focus.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to focus.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And very, very scary. So my heart goes out to you that you have been experiencing that too for, the past 20 some years, because it's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people just automatically assume people with schizophrenia or people with psychosis, and ways that you can there's many ways that you can get psychosis and hearing voices. I know someone who's had it from trauma as well.
Oh, sorry.
And yeah, and it's not everybody is violent, you know,
Yeah.
and a lot of the people I think that become violent, it's really from the delusions and from fear and yeah, but so how I just wanted to say that because what you were saying was moving me.
Oh,
And I think it's like it took 3 years for me for the voices to go away, you
no.
know, to finally go away.
Uh,
Um, so I can't imagine. It takes a lot of strength in you, I think, for all these years for you have those episodes of like freedom, and then all of a sudden it starts coming back, and that's incredibly strong of you to be able to just keep pushing through. So
Thank
yeah,
you. Yeah, I just, you know, to be honest with you, I just do it for soul. I do it for my wife. Yeah, to be
that's
honest,
beautiful.
and not even for
Well,
myself anymore. Like, there's been many times I wished I could just die. It would
yeah,
be just so much better. And I totally know what you mean. I totally, yeah. It's
I
rough.
hope
Yeah.
one day you can start doing it for yourself too, because you really are a beautiful person and have so much to give. I've seen your drawings, your you know, and now you're in school for music. So talk about Soul. How did you meet her? How does this affect your relationship with her, your family?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's a real trooper. Like, she has stuck with me through the worst of it. Like, when I was like totally paranoid and
yeah,
delusional, and she was there. And so, like, I feel like, in a very real sense, I owe her my life. And I think without her, me having been there, I would have probably drinking myself to death, or you know something like that, way a long time ago. But
yeah.
yeah. And so, like, that's kind of the truth of the matter there. Yeah.
That support is everything. That's a constant
Yeah.
theme we keep hearing from people. So for loved ones out there, support is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. How has it affected your relationship with your family? Because I know they encouraged you to go.
To see psychiatrist. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're supportive. They're very supportive. They blame themselves, even though doctors and a lot of people have told them it's not their fault.
right.
But it's created that kind of dynamic in our relationship, where they think that they did something to cause this to
Right.
happen to me, but it's
I
not.
think
It's
that's
not their
hard for
fault.
parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they see a
Yeah.
child going through something, they're like, I must have done this, but you're right, they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. How has it affected like work? Because I know it sounds like you were right around the age of discovering your career and everything. So what has that journey been like?
Well, it totally derailed my life when I got ill. At the time, I had been working at a church, and I had to quit because I got ill. And I haven't worked like retail or any kind of job like that, like, for a very long time. So, and I've been unable to, because I would get like paranoid of like
Yeah,
the other workers there at times and stuff like that. Like, and just it's yeah, it's been rough. Anyway, like, so I have always wanted to do comics, so me and my wife decided that maybe that's something I could do, and so
yeah,
that's what we did. Yeah. And
that's great. And that's
yeah.
something you don't have to interact with other people as much,
Yeah.
like on a
Right.
constant.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
and with the music, who knows, you could create your own CD as a vocalist and do that. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
If you have a single that you want us to, we could play in the credits. We seem to be doing that with people.
Oh, well, yeah, okay.
Send us a sample.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, and we can also I'd love to put up any images that you'd like to share, your graphics, if there are ways that people can purchase anything that you've contributed to, we can put that up as well and promote it.
Like these images, and this is where you cut to put the images.
You're giving me way too much credit in editing,
I'm
Nate.
gonna say these images, and then it's gonna flash to the images. I'm doing this to do so you can do this in post.
Okay.
Cut-
Mike,
cut-
is there anything that you would like to share for people that are going through schizophrenia, or their family members that you have found helpful, that you'd like them to know?
Yeah, like one piece of advice I would give, especially if you're going through like the thick of it, like the work, like a really bad time of it, is that it'll get better, because it will, and I've had schizophrenia now for 25 years, and when its first onset happened, like I really wanted to die, and I seriously contemplated it, like, and I tried it a couple times, to be honest, and I'm so glad I didn't succeed, though. I'm so glad, now, uh, and so that's like probably the number one, like, advice I probably would like to give, is that it may seem like things are just overwhelming and like unbearable, and I totally know how that feels, but it'll get better tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next day, but it'll get better in time, and that's probably it right there. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you for being with us today and sharing
thanks
your
for having me.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to have you back because I think you have a lot of great advice to share, and I think invisible disabilities are really misunderstood, especially with mental health. So thank you so much, and stay tuned, followers. We are going to be doing an after party with Nate and I. So save your spoons.
1, 2, 3, 4. Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me.
And we're back. Welcome to Speaking in Spoons after party for our episode on personal story with disability and schizophrenia with Mike. Wow, this was just I think this is the first time I've cried in an episode. That really it was powerful to hear him talk about his experience, and also for me, because I've really never gotten to, I don't share a lot about what happened to me, and I haven't really gotten to talk to anybody else who's really experienced it, and hear them say things that I experienced that were just, I mean, the worst parts of my life. And when I go through things now, like, that's literally what I say. I say, well, I survived psychosis, so I can do this. you know. It's kind of like my mantra. Like when anything's bad, when anything's awful, I survive psychosis. I can do this. I can't imagine having that be my battle the rest of my life. My heart just goes out to him because I know that that is such a it gets so scary and
Yeah.
overwhelming. So he's just so incredibly strong and courageous to just keep waking up every day and pushing. And yeah. What'd you think, Nate?
Well, just what I was saying, um, that just the fact that he's on this show and that we've had other people on the show telling their stories, I think that that is such a beautiful thing, because I know for me personally, I felt like I was going through all this by myself. Like even in like
Yeah,
group, like MS groups, I still felt alone a lot
yeah.
of times. It's nice to hear the stories of people, like the trials and tribulations of people, and that really makes you realize that it's not like
It's not
everyone,
just you.
it's not just me having a bad time, and that I shouldn't think about contemplating suicide, because it's not it's I mean, as soon as you do that, then you're definitely never going to get better. Like at
Yeah.
least when you wake up the next day, that's an opportunity for something different.
Yeah, I want the universe to prove me wrong, that it
Yeah,
will get better, you know.
you're that.
And I love what his advice that, you know, it will get better. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be next week, but eventually it will. And like with us, we've known that it's peaks and valleys. So even that, I think, is what's so hard. And he experiences this too. You climb that mountain and everything's better, and you're like, oh, you know, my life might go where I want it to go, and then bam, the world just brings you back down. But you have to just go, okay, I survived psychosis. I can do this. And he's got to do that every day. So
Yeah.
yeah. I
Well, I
loved
mean,
what you said too after we were recording when you talked about you're asking him questions about his wife and stuff.
I thought that was so cool. I think about that too. Like, would I find a partner? Like, do I really want to get healthy, or am I in the perfect spot right now to find a partner who will stay with me no matter what?
Yeah,
Because if I found someone right now in the shit, like if I got better, that's awesome. But if I didn't get better, that person wouldn't just jump ship.
right. It's like
And
a
I kind of,
litmus test, you
yeah.
know?
Well, I kind of wonder about like the people that I dated. Would they have stuck with me if I had just continued to decline?
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't know. I didn't think they would, so I did sometimes break up with them because of that. And then it
You were
happened.
scared. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I just notice when people don't shy away from me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty low right now. Like my walking sucks, and my I don't know, just existing is kind of hard on some
Yeah.
basic, and it's like I'm finally walking around again, but I got so low where I was like in a wheelchair and using a walker everywhere, and like I couldn't get to the bedroom and couch back without using a walker, you know?
It's hard though, because we have like it's so um easy if there is somebody that is willing that the sickness doesn't scare them. That is such a appealing and a hypnotic thing that sometimes you can end up like I just recently did in a relationship that is still extremely unhealthy. But I kept going to the fact with, oh, but he'll sit with me in the ER. He'll be with me when I'm sick. He'll hold my hand when I'm sick. And
Yeah,
my husband didn't. So, and other guys haven't wanted to. It's been a put like a turn off. So it's hard to then really acknowledge all the other stuff that is bad because that is, I didn't want to get left again because of my illness. So, but I still do think you're absolutely right that it's a litmus test because a lot of people, like you said, you get married, both people are usually healthy. Sometimes not, but both people are usually healthy. And then eventually somebody gets sick and the other one leaves. Um,
Speak from
and
experience.
yeah, that's speaking from experience for me, but the but I mean the statistics, it happens so much. And then, think of people when they're elderly and getting sick. It's just, you want to make sure that you're going to end up with someone who's going to walk through the shit with you, just
Yeah.
like you would for them.
You want
um
you want your notebook moment.
your notebook yeah,
You visited her like every day when she was
every day.
full scale dementia, and then they became birds. I mean, I think that's what happened. But like, he
Yeah,
stuck with her through like when she got sick. Like, but I'm not in my 80s getting sick. I'm in my 30s getting sick. So
yeah,
it's or like I never found my person. But maybe
yeah.
now is the perfect time to find your person, because that person's gonna love you no matter
I
what's
have
going.
hope. I have hope for myself and for you. you know and I literally just read an article on Facebook about two swans, I think, or cranes, something, and one of them was injured, had been in. I Don't laugh at me, you're laughing at me, but it talked about, hey, long distance can work because the injured swan um uh kept getting visited by its partner every year, right? Like he just kept coming back and visiting, and like that's commitment. That's no matter, she couldn't fly to where he went every year, and she was taken in by like a family that fed her and watched her, but then every year he would come back and be with her. And I just, started blubbering, and I was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful.
Swans or cranes mate for life? Is that like a thing?
It's more that they will return to, they'll be with the same partner. Like, I don't know.
Who knows what he's doing down in Cabo though? Like
Yeah,
when
but he comes back.
sure, sure. He's
So
probably got a second
cool.
family down there.
He's got a whole other fan. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
bird.
don't know. I thought it was sweet.
Yeah, no, it's a good.
Ruin the sweetness, Nate.
I think there's something that's nice about someone. I mean, as bad as like what I mean, my brother-in-law and my sister. My sister's sick. She's not as sick as me, but she has a sickness. But my brother-in-law stays with her. I think that's pretty amazing
It is.
that they stay with each other. Like I know my mom and my dad didn't stay together. Um,
That was really hard on them.
yeah, I think the sickness was hard on them, but also I think my dad became, I don't know. I don't know the whole story. Like I wasn't there, but I think it wasn't just the illness, but it was definitely that was a contributor for sure.
Well, and the illness I mean, your dad did eventually die from the MS, so I'm sure that really
Uh,
affected his
yeah.
personality. And,
Well,
I
technically
don't,
he died of flu, but it's like a co-infection. But
yeah,
yeah, the MS makes you very weak for sure.
right. But, we both go through our angry periods, and it's hard. It is, I think, hard being around someone who is dealing with a disability or illness chronically, because we do have those peaks and valleys, and you have to be okay with the fact that we're going to hurt and grieve occasionally, and we can't always go out, we can't always do things. And like Mike, is going to have episodes where he's battling this paranoia and these voices, so he doesn't really know what's real all the time. And so that's a true partnership, I think, that they've, I mean, that's just incredible. And that she even helped him kind of figure out something that he could do, that he was passionate about, that wouldn't where he would be allowed to do it. Like he was feeling like he couldn't do these other things because of his disability. Um I'm about to die. Hold on.
Should we cut?
No. I have a magical charger.
Oh, your phone's about to die. Okay.
Yeah, the computer.
or my phone has like 30% left, so it's not. I don't know forever, but we got like a few more
Yeah.
minutes.
Well, we can do our final thoughts.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Am
do
I
you have
going?
final thoughts?
I, I don't. I just don't. Schizophrenia is not something. I know my cousin had it, and it really he's living in like a assisted living type place, and
Yeah,
I saw that movie with Russell Crowe, or Is a Beautiful Mind. Like, I mean, that's my perception of schizophrenia. Like,
right,
I don't really understand what it's like because I've never been in it. So I feel like
right.
maybe better understanding of it, but I do feel bad for it, and I would never wish that on my worst enemy because it is just a.
Well, the
I don't.
medication can help, but like he said, well, and I don't have schizophrenia, but I had the auditory hallucinations and a little bit of the visual, but I definitely had the paranoia too. But it's so hard to know what's real. And the voices would tell me things like the FBI is coming and we're watching you, and they were trying to tell me that they were going to take away my service animal because I was a bad mother, and I had to like train my it was all also wouldn't allow me to eat. Like I was hospitalized once and I was misdiagnosed at this one hospital. They said I had major depression because I kept turning away food because I told them I was fat, because the voices in my head kept telling me that. And they were like, you don't eat anything. You're so fat. You're so fat. And they also told me that I was immunocompromised, so I wouldn't let them do things like and that I was a slut and like all this. So a lot of it, comes from weird things that are going on in your head anyways. But I was also told that the other patients were FBI people watching me. So I was terrified to be there and I didn't want to take a shower, so like I got really really gross. But the what's interesting to me is that at that facility they didn't really ask me the right questions, and somehow didn't realize I was hearing voices when I'd already had 2 episodes of psychosis at because they thought I had multiple sclerosis, my neurologist. So he gave me an IV of steroids, and I had no idea that steroids could do this, but it's not like the most common thing, but it I had to live 3 years trying to get that under control.
Yeah.
And some people don't take their medication. I know that that can be a hard thing, and I know a friend whose son is schizophrenia, and it really affects the family's lives as well. I think it's wonderful that his family was so supportive and said, you need to get help. They could see something and they sent him. And that's hard too. I just had to take somebody to the ER last night for a manic episode, and it was really hard to leave them there. I felt so guilty because I was having my own physical dealing with that manic episode was very hard on me physically. Um, and I knew he needed care that I could not provide. Um, but I felt so guilty leaving him there because I know it can also be scary being in one of those places. But he needed to get his medicines evaluated. It just, I know it's a lot on the families too. And people are, like you said, we know what we see in the movies, and I think the movie
Right.
with Russell Crowe did kind of a good idea of kind of showing you a little bit about the paranoia.
Yeah,
But
and you trust your reality, and you make up this
yeah,
whole world.
yeah,
Like I understand it, but I don't understand it.
but it's not always like, I feel like in the movie, and maybe every case, I'm sure every case of schizophrenia or psychosis is different. In the movie, it made it seem like he was kind of always in that world. And the way Mike described it was kind of more my experience,
Yeah.
where it's like it's kind of a little bit of both. But he also said he had mild schizophrenia.
Mild.
So
Yeah. I wonder if Russell Crowe had like high levels of
yeah,
schizophrenia, like where there's some sort of like
yeah. But I
meter.
think the important lesson is if you see a loved one going through something, or you yourself are noticing and your changes yourself, seek help. It's just like diabetes. You need, getting insulin saves your life. Monitoring your insulin levels saves your life. And with any kind of mental illness that needs to be truly medicated, like he can have a better quality of life when he's medicated and seeking care. And there's nothing to feel ashamed of with that. There's just absolutely nothing to feel ashamed of. And we have
Yeah.
a problem in the society, the way we treat people
Well,
with mental
yeah.
health.
We're very ashamed of our diseases, and I
Yeah,
really was struggling to not feel ashamed, but it's just
yeah,
so hard. Like even
yeah.
when everyone around you tells you don't be ashamed of this, you still feel
You still feel ashamed. It's
you
hard.
feel yeah, you feel weak and like this it's just it makes lesser. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I feel I remember I was walking with my walker to my car the other day and my brother
yeah.
was like, "It's okay, take your time." And I was just like, "I hate this." But that had nothing to do with my brother who's being very supportive. But that's I guess that's my problem. Like I just
Well, sometimes I wonder when we've had our conversations if some of our perceptions or differences because we're male and female, because a lot of things that you want you to get fixed, um, in regards to your physical capabilities and stuff, to be able to, like you said, be the hero. You want to be the hero. And I very much feel like I have those same feelings of being like weak and like kind of like a reject, because I couldn't provide a man with a child. I couldn't
yeah,
do the feminine things. I couldn't help cook. I couldn't help do dishes or laundry. I would feel useless in the home. And that's so like 50s person, but I still like it's embedded and ingrained in my soul for some reason that I need to contribute to these things that I can't.
yeah. I feel guilty about not feeling like I can fill my gender role. Like I
Yeah,
know roles don't exist and we're all just like snowflakes of whatever we want. But
but that's what they do.
I just felt like I wasn't being a man, whatever that means. Like
Yeah,
I don't feel like a man sometimes, especially when I was doing that water fast because it like took everything disappeared. Like I didn't
yeah.
care about anything. I didn't care about sex. I didn't care about like food. I didn't care. I lost all will to
Yeah, well,
live.
and how sexy is it like going on a date when you have bladder problems and I have to wear like a pad? Like it doesn't make me feel
Very sexy.
particularly feminine, you
We
know?
talked about our first date. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh hush. I wasn't at the pee pad yet.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
No. Okay, I didn't experience that. But at this, yeah, just very different. Dating is very different when you're disabled, and it's like you physically like it just. I remember I was sick when I was dating before, but until I got disabled, it just felt like a different kind of. I felt
Different
less.
world.
I just felt less encumbered.
Yeah.
You know? I felt like trying more and taking chances, and now I just feel like every step has to be measured, like literally every step.
Yeah. Well,
On
I
that note,
think now that we've gone all depressing, I think I do just love his message of it will get better. And while
yeah,
you and I are in the dumps
there's
right
light
now,
at the
it
tunnel.
will get better. We just got to keep pushing through. And I know there's people out there that might be in the dumps as well, and you are not alone. We're there with you in the trenches.
So the Rumi quote that I say to you off is like, what you are seeking is seeking you. And I think that is beautiful because if we do truly have soul mates, they're on the trek to find us just as much we're on the trek to find them. It's just like two, you know,
Yeah.
we have to meet, you know?
Yeah. And just keep waking up and keep choosing to live and try, and that's the best that we can do. And you are not alone out there. We're right here with you.
Yep.
And till next time, save your spoons. Oops, I hit the rope.
If you want to contact us, please send a DM or email to speakinginspoons@gmail.com with any stories you have or would like to interview with us on any of our upcoming topics. And check out our website for all of our upcoming episodes and what's happening in the Speaking in Spoons community at www.speakinginspoons.com. Thank you for listening to Speaking in Spoons, and have a great day.
Two, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Ba-da-ba-ba-dee-da, ba-ba-da-ba-dee-ba. Fill my heart with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true.